5 of how I started my business with nothing after being fired from a toxic chiropractor job. So we left off with me literally being crushed by the weight of these Groupon clients and my business partner taking off without the money. It became very apparent to me that this was my sink or swim moment. I felt ready to quit. I felt like no one would blame me for quitting. I had all the excuses lined up to be done with it and deal with the consequences. Without telling my whole life story, I feel like this part is important. I grew up in a very chaotic household, and I often, because I was the oldest in my house, I have an older sister, but she didn't live with us at the time. Thank God for her. But I was often the caretaker. And I also grew up with no money, right? So I think from that experience, and the reason I'm telling you this is it created something inside of me, a determination, a level of responsibility that kind of drove me towards a goal of financial freedom, of generational wealth, and of just a deep A-type, need to succeed. So I do feel like that served me. So another blessing in disguise, right? Not that my childhood was so bad, but it was not the best. And I feel like that actually gave me what I needed to get through this time. So I did a couple important things at this time. One, I chose to lock in. I decided this is what I'm doing. I am going to continue on and I'm going to make this work. Two, I started like an octopus reaching out to every single resource I could possibly find. So free business courses. There's a program in Portland called MISO. It's a nonprofit, and they help people who don't have access to traditional funding, like women, minorities, that kind of thing. I connected with them and I started in their program, and any friends or family that I could possibly lean on, because every little thing was breaking me at this time. I was literally so overwhelmed. I remember breaking down to the person I was seeing at the time that I literally couldn't do anything. Like changing the voicemail alone was making me break down in tears. Number 3, and this one is gold, is I changed my Groupon strategy. So I actually closed off a good portion of my schedule for returning clients or new clients. 2, I started offering Groupon clients to save their Groupon for the second session and pay the Groupon price directly to me for the first session. And then I would, have them rebook directly to use their Groupon right after the first session. And then after they use their Groupon coupon in the second session, I would offer them a third session if they rebook that day at just a slightly higher price than the Groupon price. And then after the third session, I would offer them a package or membership. So this helped me because at the time, I think the statistics were that you really only retained like very few of the Groupon clients. That's why the Groupon got such a bad name for so many reasons, but that's one of the reasons. They were just discount hoppers. They were just going to go on to the next Groupon. But this strategy actually helped me build my clientele based on these Groupon clients. So of course they had to be the right fit, blah, blah, blah. But it actually helped me create some income out of those Groupon clients. So this retention ladder, it saved me. One last thing that I did was I actually brought in 2 people who had just graduated from East West College here in Portland to be renters, and I offered them to help build their clientele to do some of the Groupon massages, but they had to agree to being paid a really low price. And this was also a pivotal choice. First of all, they're absolutely amazing, and one of them still owns the business right now. She's incredible, and having just their positivity and their eagerness and their support was key. So now I had 3 people working in the business who were just beautiful, wonderful people who, it didn't feel like I was alone, and I could hand off some of those massages. Yes, it cost me money and I didn't make anything, but it just kind of like saved my sanity. So there started to feel like some normalcy, some rhythm. I was still very overwhelmed, but I started to get out of that deep dark hole. And it took me about 2 years to get through the Groupon massages. And I'm going to tell you more about what happened next, because there were some more pivotal moments within there that really I hit burnout several more times. And it was actually an unexpected family illness that really saved me from the next time I got into that dark hole and into that burnout, which I think is very common for a lot of business owners. Burnout doesn't just happen once, and bad stuff or crazy stuff doesn't just happen once in your business. If you stick with it for the long term, it's likely that you're going to go through lots of moments like this. So I'll tell you all about how another blessing in disguise, another pivotal moment that really changed the way I did business in the next episode.